Okay, so let's get started. Good morning to all of you again. So this is a EPMO GPM PM feedback forum where we want to share some of our special topics and some of the upcoming events from EPMO, and also try to get feedback from you so that we can improve our processes and make them more user-friendly. We always strive to see that we simplify, we standardize them, and we modify them to suit a better working to the project teams, right? So your feedback is always welcome, and we really appreciate for that. So let's get started. So the agenda today is quite packed, but we will try to run through them quickly. The housekeeping and engagement rules are quick. We have a special topic from our procurement team and vendor management office. Sam Ardenti and Diane, they are going to present how to engage procurement and what are the different types of procurement types and how the workflow is executed on the ServiceNow, where all we get engaged with them so that the purchase orders are released under different types of procurement types. Then we will be going a little bit deeper into some of the items from EPMO, the newsletter, then the Tuesday training per schedule, some of the releases that we are coming out in the next few months. In April release is going to be the focus here. And then we are also going to give you some of the updates on how we are doing on the BCCT updates, the new the report that is going to be available to the project managers and the GPMs regarding the SGP compliance. And we will have some of the closing comments, which will be regular points that I will be requesting you to take care so that the data quality is improved on the ServiceNow, and thereby the further reporting is a lot more quality based. So with that, let's get started. So next slide. So these engagement rules are very clear that this will be recorded, and if you have the name with your telephone number, please change it to the user ID or at least the last name, first name, so that we know whom we are addressing. Any questions you can put in the chat box. If we can get to them in one of our presentations, we will address that. If not, we'll come back to you with a detailed explanation on that. The Q&A section at the end is to basically get the feedback from you. Any suggestions, any clarifications you need on top of what we provided in this 1 hour meeting, we will be glad to provide that, okay? With that rules of engagement, we hand over now the podium to special topic today, the VMO procurement. Sam Ardenti from the vendor management team and Dan Stenberg from our procurement team are here to take us through that process. Over to you, Sam, Dan.
Sam, are you going to start off?
Diane, sorry, I was talking on mute. My apologies. Good morning, everybody, and thank you all for joining. Also, Jim Culligan, the Procurement Operations Manager, is here with us today.
Oh, Jim, good to see you. Sorry.
And I'm trying to share, but somebody has something up.
Yep. Salita, can you give the share to Sam?
Okay, good. Okay, yep, I have a... So, folks, when you're going to initiate a procurement request, there are several different workflows that we look at. I'm going to go through these in a little bit more detail because I do want to show you how we set up something in ServiceNow when you're going to initiate that request. But these are all the different workflows and the tasks that they touch as you go through the process. So people ask sometimes, why does it take so long? We have different things that we do for quality, to ensure, and for compliance. Again, for quality, you look at the very first task, you look at the type that it's open for. You wouldn't believe the number of times you see something opened up in the wrong workflow, and the different things that we have to touch there. Again, in an RFP, we have two very special tasks that we run in the CIO approval before we release it, and the CIO approval on the lead vendor. Again, very different from the standard SD2PO process. And again, another thing you'll notice, and Jim and I will talk a little bit about this later, the ServiceNow workflow stops once the PR is created and goes to Ariba. The reason Jim and I and Naren came up with that, along with the blessing of the SLT, was people were having to come in and put that approval in two places. They were managing it in Ariba and they were managing it in ServiceNow. So once FST issues the PR and begins the Ariba process, the ServiceNow task closes, and then you just track that in one system, and that's Ariba only. Just some FYIs as we go through it. Any
Hey, Sam, before we get too far along, yeah, there was a question in the chat around what VMO stood for, and VMO is Vendor Management Organization. That's Sam's team. And then just for clarity, as Sam touched on, the SD2PO process is essentially the value stream of procurement. So that's scope development to purchase order, kind of the workflows that Sam and I'll help walk you through to just discuss the steps and what your involvement would be within it. We'll help kind of guide through that continuum of that process. Sorry,
thank
Sam.
you, Jim. I did not notice the chat, and thank you, folks, for asking the questions in the chat. Perfect. So, folks, when you're going to initiate a request where you need procurement, you have an SOW, you're going through a software renewal, you're going to do an RFP, any of the workflows that I listed before, you go into the ServiceNow homepage, and you hit within the homepage. You're going to go to the service catalog, okay? And the service catalog is going to show you IT only requests, and you're going to go in there and you're going to hit procurement services. And Diane, what workflow did we want to open it up under?
I would just do an SOW. That's fine.
Okay. So in here, it explains to you all the different things you could open something up for, or that you might be initiating. SOWs and CRs are fall under that workflow. Renewals, there's express renewals and regular renewals. Jim and I will talk with you a little bit about under $250,000 and the express renewal process a little later on in this. Okay. We have P cards, RFPs, RFIs, RFQs, audits, disputes, blanket purchase orders, and non-POs, which are amendments or NDAs or things like that, or an SOW that you're like a blanket SOW that you'll issue other SOWs under. That would fall in the non-PO workflow. So the first thing we'll do is we'll open it up and we'll pick SOW, as Diana said, okay? The procurement owner will always assign it to Jim Culligan, because Jim is, as the operations manager of that group, Jim will turn around and assign it to the members of his team as he sees their workload can handle. So if you would, make sure that when you open it up, you assign to Jim. Jim, anything more you want to add to that part, sir?
No, well put, Sam. Yep, that's exactly right.
Okay.
Sam, for this, Sam, for this training,
yes,
use my name though, because for the training, it's coming. You want it to come to me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Diane. I'm sorry. Yep. Hold on, Diane.
It's TRDMS.
Just because we're in the test environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go, Diane. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, and then the location, again, it will depend. Is it a LI Long Island? Is it an LA New Jersey? Is it an LI New Jersey project only? Is it an LI project or a New Jersey project? For this, we're just going to say New Jersey. For this one, we're just going to use Services Corp, because for the most part, they will be Services Corp, because we'll own the budget. Press. Gonna pick one, but again, make sure that you're going through the right one. Great. Okay. And person responsible. You'll put your manager in there because if they have to, and I'm going to use Leah's name there, just because Leah and I are pals. Okay. What did I do wrong there? Hold on. Diane, what did I do wrong there? Uh-oh.
I don't know. It's not letting you make a selection?
Yeah. No. Let's see.
Just copy above A00120249. Can you fill it in the field?
Yeah, let's see.
Okay.
Thank you, Diane.
Okay, now I click on it again, just in case. Okay, I think you're all right. Go ahead. You're good.
Yeah. Purchase description. Again, you don't need the WBS or standing order now. You could it is absolutely necessary when you hit that step to validate it.
But it is a required field, so you could put TBD, but you cannot
Yeah.
leave that field blank.
No, you can't. Everything with an asterisk has to have something in it.
And for the SOW example, just as Sam is going through that, it is really critical that funding is secured for the SOW prior to you entering this ITM. So you don't have to confirm the exact orders until further down into the process. However, going into it, you should already have something secured for it.
Sam, yeah, just on that project related, if you say yes, you're gonna have to identify the specific project, and if it's
Yeah.
not already loaded in
Yeah.
ServiceNow, it's not gonna accept it.
Yeah, I just didn't know. I
Okay.
just didn't know. And folks, Diane was just explaining that. If it's project related, it'll mandate that you go over here to the project name tab and identify it so it has it all wrapped together. Okay. Oh, wait. Okay. And then last but not least, the SIVR form that I know we're all in love with, because it is such a, it does add more fun and complexity to the process. You have to have this complete before it starts. You have to have gone through the process, have gotten their approval, our cybersecurity team, and then you certify it here. Okay. And attach. If you need to go find out about the form and go to the website, the link and everything is listed right here. Okay.
Just to note, that's on SOWs, renewals, or RFQs. If we were to do an RFP, we would assist with that process at the at the various juncture points prior to the RFP, and following up on that solution. But for all those other workflows, it would happen in.
Yeah, just to bring a little bit of connectivity here, in one of the GPM forum, PM forums, UL Pinay, the security team manager, has presented the SIVR process. I hope some of you were present in that special topic session. I hope you can link it to this. This is the same process, SIVR, sensitivity information and vendor risk form, how to fill it up, and then how to send it to the CSRC team for their review and approval. Okay. Just
Okay,
trying
folks.
to link in both of them. Good. Thank you. Go ahead, Sam.
Yep. And then last but not least, you have to attach the document that that's referenced in this. So I just attached something quick. Normally you would attach a copy of your SOW and hit order. and there's your RITM. It will give you your RITM number, and then a notification will be sent to Jim Culligan, letting him know when he pulls his report that he now has open requests out there for him to assign. Okay?
Hey, Sam, where's the
Diane,
SOW template?
What's that?
The SOW template, where is that stored?
We'll get to that. Hold that question, Naren. Let's hold that question, and we'll show him
we'll
before
tell
the
that.
end.
Mhm.
Yeah. Who was that? Who was asked that? Tom? Was that
Bobby
Hey,
Thompson.
Sam, this is Bobby. Yeah.
Yeah, Bobby. We'll let you know the link before the meeting's over. Diane, do you have that number written down, my friend?
Yes, I do. If you want to stop sharing, I'll
I
pull
will
up my
stop.
screen.
Okay.
Okay, now that Sam created the RITM and I know it's assigned to me, I will now go into the RITM. And I'm not going to walk through every step on this process, but I'll just quickly kind of do the overview for you on how this RITM moves through the system. So the first step is I have to assign a complexity level to it. So for the purposes here, I'll just assign low complexity here, and I'm gonna save it so that, oops, why didn't it save? Try again. Okay, so now I've solved the problem of that being a required field. So this is a task-driven workflow system. So this is my RITM. You see the number right here. This is the one that Sam just created for me. My first step is going to be looking at the task. So I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and please excuse me if I'm making anybody dizzy for scrolling through this fast, but here's the task down at the bottom of the screen. Then these tasks bounce back and forth between the procurement resource and the person who placed the request into ServiceNow. And then also the financial support team is included in this process. They do eventually have a task to create purchase requisition. So you'll see here's my task number, and here is who it's assigned to. So I know this is a task that's waiting for me to do something. And here's the description of what is to be done in this first task. I had to review the requirements that have been provided to me. So I would open up the SOW that was attached. I'll ask any questions, go back and forth with the requester if I have any open questions. I'm going to open my task. You just click on the task number, and it's going to open up the task screen eventually. It's not very fast sometimes. Okay, here it goes. Okay, so now you'll see up in the top, I'm in the task order. I'm no longer in the RITM itself. So the first task you'll see here is a red asterisk. So the first task is procurement to say, am I going to send this back to the IT owner for any further modifications? Do I have everything I need to have? Do I have all my questions answered? It's either yes or no. So if I said no, what this would do would send this back to the requester, and I would put specific comments down below that here's what I'm missing. For the purpose of this, I'm going to say no, I don't want to send it back to the IT owner. I have everything I need. So I'm going to select no. The one thing you need to absolutely understand about these tasks is anytime you are going to move through a task, you have to highlight and update work notes. This yellow field right here. If you don't put anything in work notes, it's not going to allow you to move through this task and close it. So I'm going to just quickly put here, if I was sending it back to the IT requester, if I had said, yes, send it back, I would put details as to what I'm missing here. But in this case, because I'm going to say, yes, I have everything, I'm going to put reviewed, sorry for my spelling, and no additional information needed. I'm going to come back up here to the top of the screen where we have state. This is, it's a little confusing. It says state. You would think of this as kind of a status, right? So the state right now is open on this task. I'm going to say close complete. I have everything I need. I'm closed complete on this task. And I'm going to come up to the top. I'm going to click update. And what that's going to do now closes this task as complete. It's going to pull me back into the RITM itself eventually. Okay. You'll see here, I'm back on my RITM screen. Over here on the stage, we've now moved this RITM into milestone 2, still pending with procurement. So I know, okay, there's something I still need to do. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and you're going to see the original task that I just closed is still there. Oh, I'm sorry. One thing I wanted to show you. those work notes that I put in are now here as part of the historical notes. So I can, as notes build up on this, you can go back in and you can see the trail of comments and or work notes. So now you'll see here, here's that original task. It's now closed complete, but I have a new task that's assigned to me. I had to refine and finalize any documents. So if there's something I needed to do to this SOW to send it back to the vendor, I would do that in this task. I'm going to open this task. I'm trying to get it where I can send it back to Sam. So now again, up on top, you'll see I'm back into a task. I'm into the new task, which is to refine and finalize documents to distribute. I'm going to go down to my work notes. I'm going to state made modifications to SOW for review with supplier. Well, I'm going to put here with requester before sending back to supplier. I'll attach the revised SOW. I'm not going to do it now because this is going to delay the processing. I would attach the revised SOW up here by clicking on the paperclip. So I've done my task here. I'm going to hit close complete. And I'm going to select update. It's going to take me back to the RITM. And so I'm back to the RITM, and you look to the right here, it says milestone 2 pending with IT. Now, Sam, I'll do this for you. I'll pretend I'm you. But so again, my note is captured here that I just made. And now you'll see here, the task is now with Sam to approve the final bid package. So in this case, Sam would go back into the RITM. He would comment in work notes whether the changes are fine, okay, please release to supplier. And we would then move the task through. One thing I do want to note for you here, this field here, client comments. So if I wanted to just go in, or Sam wanted to just go in, he wasn't ready for me to act on the next step, he could come in here and update this RITM with comments at any time. And our desire is to update comments on any RITM every day with a status, you know, just so that we know what's happening, who has a to-do item. So if there's something going on, Sam's not able to get in and make this change because he's waiting for feedback from someone else, he can come in here and update that he was waiting for input from a third party before he responded and closed his task. And I would be able to go in here and say, oh, see Sam's comment and know why I haven't seen this task completed yet. So that's just a good field for you to know is there. And you can come in your RITM at any point in time and look in the comments, this historical comment trail, and you can see, well, what's going on? Why hasn't procurement done something? Why hasn't financial support team done something? So Sam, I don't know if you want me to open this task for you, whether you want to bounce back and do it yourself. You want me to do it?
Yep. Yeah, go ahead, Diane. Go ahead.
Okay.
And Diane, one other comment I'll add for that too, is it's folks, at least once a week, you have to go in there. If a task is with you more than a week, I like to see, we like to see an update in there at least once a week, so we understand what's going on and why it might be taking longer than as expected. Because you'll see when Jim and I pull the matrix back up, each workflow has an SLA with it.
So now I'm back in the task that's assigned to Sam. I'm pretending I'm Sam here. And this warning is always going to tell you, don't forget to update your work notes. So it'll remind you. And if you can't close a task, you're going to know why. So I'll just pretend I'm Sam here. Reviewed modifications. Okay to send to supplier. He'll come up. He's going to now complete his task and select update. We're now going to bounce back to the RITM. And it should be back in my hands. So here's back in the RITM screen. And now you'll see here under stage, it's now in milestone 6 pending with procurement. Milestone 6 for us is, if I scroll down to the bottom, is now to move forward with negotiations on the SOW. So in this stage, assume I'm going to open my task. So assume at this point I've sent the SOW back to the vendor. We maybe had a few email exchanges, got everything ready to go, and we've agreed, yes, the SOW is fine. Please proceed with signature on the SOW. We always try to have the vendor sign the SOW first once we have it finalized. So you're going to see here that there's another field that's now popped up on the screen, and it's a red asterisk field, which is 930 required. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the 930 process, but it's an internal approval process that brings in legal, enterprise risk management, accounting, insurance. So if there's certain criteria that are being met, if the SOW is over $2 million, if it's with a new supplier that's never been reviewed before, if it's a commitment that we're making that's either 5 years or longer, it's going to Practice 930 requires these functional area experts, as they're called, review that document and provide their approval on it. If I said yes on Practice 930, it would actually add an additional task for procurement to launch the Practice 930 review. And then when it's complete, then we have the ability to move on forward with creating a purchase requisition. For the purposes here, I'm going to say no, Practice 930 is not required. So I'll say no. I'm still going to scroll down to the bottom of the screen. Oops, I'm sorry, I have to say save. So I've said no, it's not required. Why is there no task for me here? This may be one of the changes that I don't remember, but I'll put close complete because I've said it's not required. Update my work notes. No Practice 930 required. SOW finalized and sent to supplier for their signature. I'm going to come. Oh, I already did close complete. I'm going to click update. Let's see if this works. I did it kind of in the wrong order. Okay, let me do it. So now we're back to the RITM, and milestone 6 is still pending with procurement. Now I'm going to have a task down below, which is all contract paperwork has been signed by the supplier and received by procurement. And if there is a single source form required, that it's been signed off by IT. You guys that should all be familiar with the single source, also known as a non-competitive bid waiver, for procurement requests over $100,000 that did not have a competitive bid done on it or don't fit into another excluded category would require a single source document. And we can go through that at another time if you need more detail on that. But I'm going to click on my task. And I'm back into the task, and you'll see up here is the task. I'm going to come down, update my work notes. I'm going to state SOW, signed SOW, received, no single source document required, ready for FST to create purchase requisition in Ariba. I'm going to come up to the top, and I'll attach the supplier signed SOW here. Not going to do it today because I don't have one. I'm going to put, whoops, closed complete. I'm going to select update. It's going to take this request, and you'll see now I'm back to the RITM. It sends it over back to you as the requester. So it's going to go to milestone 7 pending with IT. That milestone 7, you'll see here, is back to Sam to validate and update the WBS and standing order. So if you did a TBD, or even if you filled it in when you did your original request, in order for the FST to create the purchase requisition, they need accurate information on WBS standing order and GL account. So you would need to go in this task and validate this is correct or change it however it needs to be modified. You would select the task. You would scroll down, make your modification here. I'm just going to put 1111. I'm not going to change the GL account just because I don't want to mess this up, but you could put in a note saying updated WBS number and validated it is correct. Come up to the top, select closed complete, and update. And now it's going to take the task back to the RITM. And you'll see here, it's now moved this to the financial support team to create the purchase requisition. I can't act
the
as
last phase.
Yeah,
This is
I
the
can't
last
act
one
as the
now, last
FST, right? The FST assigns this RITM to one of 3 people in their group. They create the purchase requisition, and then they'll send that purchase requisition over to procurement via email. And then we're closed, right, Sam?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So I'm not sure where else we need to go, if there's any specific questions on this.
Nope, Diane, that was good. Thank you, Diane, so much for walking us through this. Anybody have any questions in conjunction with the workflow in ServiceNow and anything that you found that you still have questions on?
Yeah, Sam, it's Marty Gately from Long Island. I had a
Hey, Marty, good
question.
morning. How are you?
guys?
Long time
Good
no
morning.
talk
How
to
we
you,
doing?
buddy.
Yes. Everything's
Good.
okay, thank God. I had sent a note off to Jim and Diane asking, now that Steve Obsview has departed, who kind of would be the contact person we should be putting in for the RITM request? Would it be Jim himself, or?
Yes, all the procurement requests should be assigned to me.
Okay.
So, and then Steve's direct replacement was a gentleman by the name of John Strong. So
Okay.
most of Long Island's requirements will either be assigned to John Strong or Carol Benetti on my team.
Okay, but you'll be the person we should put in there. Okay, that's
Yep.
fine, Jim.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure.
One other thing too is I think it was in one of the communications, but I guess it's the end result of trying to find out when the PO actually gets created. But there's really no alerting that comes back to the folks who kind of create them. I guess it's up to us to kind of take that PR and go back into Ariba to find it. Is that still correct?
That's correct. If you do need a copy of the purchase order yourself, or somebody asks you for one for reference, all the instructions are right in the ServiceNow form, telling you step by step how to go into Ariba to get the purchase order or to get in the status on the approvals. It's pretty self-explanatory once you actually enter the purchase order. There's a big print button right on the top. So
yeah,
you can print it to PDF. Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's fine as far as the how piece go. But just to, I guess, put in the suggestion box, is there any way we could get any kind of an alert from Ariba or something that the PO actually finally got created?
It's certainly something we could look into. Yeah,
Okay.
Thanks for the suggestion.
Just a matter. It's one of those things where you have to proactively, have it, look it up, and then
Right.
figure out, okay, when was it ever created? That's all. So, I mean, sometimes the procurement folks are great. Like Tamara does a nice job sometimes in actually making sure that the person who created it, she passes it back to us when the
Right.
PO gets created, but not always. So that's all. So okay, fair enough. Thank you.
And Marty, I have up on the screen right now in ServiceNow where you'll find they'll actually list the PR number here in this open line, and then Jim was nice when we rolled this out. Jim put together the exact instructions you need when you're going into Ariba to find it.
Right. Yep.
Okay, sir?
No, that works fine as far as, but again, it's not really proactive. We just have to make sure you manage it. That's all. So that's why I just asked.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Diane, thank you very much. I don't know if you're still with us, but thank you for all the help on bringing us through this. I think she might have left. She had another meeting she had to go to. Okay, folks, and let's go back to the workflow. Okay, so again, kind of looking at all the different workflows. For the most part, for most people, it's renewals, it's SOWs, it's RFQs, and that's what you guys will see the bulk of. Blanket purchase orders, there's more to come on that. There is only one active right now, and that is in Long Island. But Jim and I and Naren and Bree Molson are going out there, and we're going to be giving a briefing to the team on what we could do to add more blanket purchase orders. More to come on that. It is a nice, smoother workflow process. takes your request and brings it right to FST versus going through all the procurement process. But a lot more to come on that because funding on those has become a huge problem. So when we re-roll that out, we'll talk with you more about it. Express renewals are renewals under $250,000 that have no changes in the terms and conditions, don't require a signature, and don't have any escalation. Escalation meaning the price didn't increase more than 3% from the year before. If you have something that falls in that, you qualify as an express renewal. And when you go through the process, you'll see the different questions that come out on that. There's 4 specific questions you have to ask, and I just kind of gave those to you. So those are those. Most people will have the regular renewal workflow. As I was talking with you guys a little bit in going through the process, again, everybody can see my screen. In these work notes, and you'll find this, by the way, you'll find the latest and greatest. And give me 1 second because I want to stop sharing and show you where this is located at. I go back to the service catalog here. Give me 1 second. And procurement services. So when you go into the service catalog, if you need to get a copy of this matrix, folks, it is listed right here. The end-to-end matrix. You click here and you're going to have the latest and greatest. Aaron, I'll catch up with you a little later because the one that we're showing now is the one that you were updating for me. Hopefully that'll get in there today.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, folks, stop sharing again and we'll go back to the workflow. So as you see well, you know what? I'll go to the SOW one because that's the one Diane kind of brought us through. Here, it talks about all the different things that we need to do, IT's role and procurement's role in each of the tasks. And again, as you see within IT role, SOW should be in a final state before you open up the RITM. Sensitive risk form should be done. And then what procurement will notify, they'll do the Q&A. They'll let you know if there's an MSA or there is no MSA. If there's no MSA in place, it's going to take a lot longer than the 26-day SLA. Because obviously, as some of you know from being involved in the process before, MSAs take at least, count on at least 45 to 60 days in an MSA negotiation. Okay. And the next task goes to IT. If there's any suggested changes, we need to make sure we take care of that. We close any bid waiver questions that the procurement team has if it's a sole source. Again, going through the summary, we define the scope, finalize the scope. IT lets us know if procurement lets us know if a 930 process is required and who it will have to touch. And they finalize and submit all the paper. We finalize and submit any paperwork with the changes requested by procurement as part of that task. Next tasks are procurements. They work with the vendor, getting the SOW signed or finalizing the MSA. Again, 930 process, we ask that you guys allow for, if it's required, an average of 5 days. Then we go to the procurement task next, ensuring all the paperwork is signed. Again, each task has a number of days based on what Jim and I have looked at as an average. Okay. Then validate the WBS, the IT task, and then FST creates the PR, and we begin the process then in Ariba. Some overall helpful hints that you'll find in here. Again, RITM notes are critical and should be updated weekly if the task is there weekly. Cancellations, any cancellation of an RITM has to get sent to Bree and I. And then here's a link that explains to you a little something about the 930 process. Okay. So folks know I have the workflow in here for the RFQs and RFPs. Again, as you look at RFP, the longest of the workflows, you look at all the different steps it takes when you're ever going to do an RFP, it's an average of 136 days. That's average, considering everything goes right. This is an FYI. Okay, helpful hints. And then what we've also done is we've put in here a sample tracker, something for you guys to take a look at to say, hey, I want to make sure I'm hitting all the T's and C's and everything that I have to hit. This kind of is a good tracker for you to use because it hits all the different stage gates that you guys will have to look at in going through the process. Questions? Jim, anything you wanted to add, sir?
No, I think you covered it well, Sam. Thank you.
So, Bobby, did we get your question answered on the template, sir?
Yeah, I did provide the details, Sam.
Okay, yeah, I think you put the link in there, Bobby. Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. And then I just want to go through this. Diane, Leah, and alert when a PO is created. Okay, we also got that. Okay. So we got Leah's question too. That's something. Jim, we're going to look into that to see if an alert can be issued in Ariba. We'll take that as a walk away, Leah.
Yep.
Thanks, Sam.
Okay.
You're welcome. Thanks, Sam, Jim, and Dan, who has to jump off to another meeting. Okay, so just wanted to bring out, right, the importance of engaging procurement in our product lifecycle or the project lifecycle. Whenever we want to bring in a resource on time and material or engage a vendor on a fixed price in an agile way or in a waterfall way, we need to engage procurement. And what you saw in the last 30 minutes or so is the way we engage procurement and what we use and how the workflow in ServiceNow happens, how the transition happens from ServiceNow to Ariba, and then after the Ariba approvals are done, how the purchase order is released, right? So it's a process well structured and well documented. You have the links on the SharePoint on the source. All the templates are available. The SOW templates are available on the source in the project template section. So as a tip of the day, I just want to give you a couple of things, right? When you want to engage procurement, please pay attention to the following things. The SOW, you are using the right template, okay? Depending on what is the engagement with the vendor, use the right template, download it from the source and use it. Do not consume something that was done 6 months or 1 year back. That will change the game again. Number two, understand the vendor engagement with us. Whether the vendor has been engaged earlier on similar assignment or he's a new vendor, then you have to plan things accordingly. If he's a existing vendor, then the SIVR process is a bit relaxed. You can understand all the details about the SIVR process, how to engage the CSRC team through the link on the source and also through the link on the source itself on the ServiceNow. If the vendor is a new vendor, then the game is completely different. You have to start engaging the procurement to understand whether the vendor has an MSA and you are good to go with him, or then how to go about the SIVR process. Different types of procurement types, renewals, RFPs, RFQs, SOWs have different engagement with CSRC team. That's a very important step. I cannot emphasize anymore that you have to focus on SIVR process before you enter into an RITM phase, okay? So it is SOW first, and then understanding the vendor. Third is the SIVR process, so you can enter into RITM. And when you create an RITM, be aware of the tasks that will pop up back onto you. A lot of times I have seen people are waiting instead of understanding that there is a task pending on their plate to complete it, okay? So a constant engagement with the ServiceNow workflow is the fourth step that you should be looking out for. Otherwise, with the rest of the workflow is well structured, back and forth movement happens automatically, the approvals are automatically extended, system is well tested for different types of procurement types and all that. So I think this is a very good coverage on the special topic today. Special thanks to Jim, Sam, and Dan for taking us through that, vendor management and procurement, engagement with the projects. Okay.
Thanks.
So
Thanks,
thank
Darren.
you.
Yeah,
We really appreciate.
If I could just build on
Sure.
on your summary comments, Darren. Can't emphasize enough what Aaron was explaining around, getting ahead of the SIVR process and being incredibly mindful of all of the various SLAs for the different workflows within the different procurement workflows within ServiceNow. So when you are planning out your project, your resource requirements, the types of software or services you might need, it's absolutely critical to keep those timelines in mind, to just make sure that you have optimal success, and my team can support you in any way possible. If you do have any questions about the process, I know Sam and I are always here to assist. So I know it's a lot of information today. I thank you for your attention and interest, and looking forward to answer any questions you may have now, or as you familiarize yourself more with it.
And again, if I could add to what Jim said, again, keeping in mind that SIVR, begin that as early as you possibly can, because you figure everybody that has something going on is getting that same information to them, and they prioritize based on when it came in. And then when you're coming into the queue with procurement, remember, it's not the only thing going on at that time. There's many. We average there's 100 RITMs at least a month, is what we're averaging. So there's a lot of work there, folks, as you begin to look at that. So keep that in mind as you're looking at that. Good communication is really, really critical. Keeping those notes up to date is really, really critical, and managing your tasks. Folks, you all know when you hear from me at audit time, and I'm asking questions, you kind of see, we're watching it. We want to make sure the thing is working right. We want to ping you if something's sitting there, because we know sometimes people forget things because there is a lot going on our plate. But again, maintain, when you have something that has to go through, if it's important enough, stay on top of it. Okay?
Right. So with that, again, thanks, Jim, Sam, and Dan. So let's move on to the next one on the slide. So I think we have a very few minutes left, but we will rush through them. So this is our chart that you have been familiar with. So we have the 4 towers stood up. That basically Nicole Johnson is taking care of the scheduling. Chris Anilonis has joined us as the controller manager, taking care of the financials and the controllers assignment to various projects. Leah has joined as the manager, project management, responsible for most of the PMs, having doubts, hand-holding, showing them the directions, guidance, and any of the SGP or any process-related questions, governance-related questions. She would be the first point of contact. And then, for further deeper analysis or providing details, we will be pitching in. Okay. So moving on with the rest of the things, there is a newsletter that is going to be sent out shortly, containing a lot of information about what's happening with EPMO and what are the new things that are being added, new facilities, features, or services. So you can see the topics are various topics are there. The training, we're going to give you the upcoming training schedule, and so that you can be aware when to join those trainings and get abreast with the details. The process related ones, basically there are a la carte for controller. I'll just spend 1 minute on this. This is a new feature that is being rolled out for the projects which are very small or maybe like medium level, which cannot afford a percentage of the controller time for certain of the financial activities. You can take care of the a la carte service, so that you can demand, okay, I want my WBSS to be mapped to a client accounting, or I need help with a particular actuals, accruals, or any financial projections that your team needs, or cost estimations. So you can request those services, and that will be a minimal charge based on the number of hours the controller will spend on it. But it is not having, it's definitely better than a full a percentage time of the controller onto your project. It is one time you request, the service will be provided, and then the percentage, the number of hours worked on it will be charged to the project. It's a very good concept, and I think a lot of the project managers who need controller assistance or financial assistance on their projects can make use of this. Compliance reporting, I'll go to the details, but let's look at the trainings that are coming up for you in April. So we are having the different type of trainings or engagement with you. The new project manager training, which is a full-fledged training, around 4 hours, where we cover a lot of topics, starting from SGP, cost estimation, project status reporting, portfolio health, etc., etc. So do not miss on that. This will be very helpful to the new project managers for their first knowledge, and for the project managers who are already here as a refresher. Okay. The GPM PM forum feedback, like one today, and then there are a couple of more lined up, so you can join them and then get your questions answered. Any quick hand holding required, we can definitely provide you during that period. Okay. So this calendar is available on the EPMO SharePoint site. The link is above there. So you can click it anytime when you are free. You can look at the upcoming trainings and prepare yourself for that. Join them. Okay. The PM asset release, this is another feature that we want to roll out instead of rolling out things on an ad hoc basis. So we want to roll them out on a monthly basis. That means we will consolidate the changes, and then monthly once we will roll out the changes with proper communication and proper training, right? So this is going to be a little bit of structured approach to the changes on the process side. We are moving this into practice. So just help us in order to with your ideas if you have any. So the April release is going to have these 4 major releases. There are BCCT templates update, because there are a lot more teams are getting engaged with EPMO SGP process. The BCCT template is being enhanced. There are a lot of questions that are put in, and then that prompts you which teams you have to engage, your conversation, your engagement with them, understand their effort and how much additional cost you have to take it. Okay, so go for that. That is why I have been telling you that download the latest template. Please do not reuse it. Okay, download the latest template, fill that so that you will always have the questions, the updates incorporated in the BC template. Okay, then SGP slides. No, can you just go back, Rita? Yeah. So because of the integration with the other teams like integration COE, TCOE, Testing Center of Excellence, BCDR, business continuity, and disaster recovery. So there are a lot of teams who want to play their role in the project lifecycle way in the beginning itself. Thereby, we will have good estimates, good reviews, and good approvals. So all the way then throughout the project lifecycle, we execute the project in the best quality possible, both on the schedule or on the costing side. Okay, and the third point is the EPMO content on the source. So we have revamped our source content on the pages, and we are rolling out a new content which follows or syncs up with the SGP process. Earlier, we were having our product model, and that we are slowly replacing with the SGP framework. So this content is more aligned towards that. That means when you go into the content pages, you will see that you are being aligned along with the SGP process, the reference points, reference files, everything is being referenced from one place, the source. So we will be sending out the information about all these in the newsletter and also with various communications. Please pay attention to the communications that you are receiving from PMO mailbox. The last one is SGP compliance reports. I just want to briefly mention here because of lack of time, we will cover it. This is the understanding and the maturity of the adaptation of SGP process by project teams. So we want to aid you. This is not a penalty report or anything. This is an aid to understand where your project is regarding the SGP adoption, right? So you should understand whether you are able to take care of the stages, the stage gate process, the scorecard submissions and approvals, and how your start dates and your end dates are maintained, etc., etc. Okay, so we started this. There are only few data points as of now, but it will be enhanced as we mature and also have the data that is supporting it. Okay, so we will brief you on that. So with that, let's jump to the next slide. I think BC document, I covered it. So this is a coverage that, basically is telling you what are the template changes. This is very self-explanatory thing, not major, except that you are adding more team engagements here. These are the business case submission schedule. We have we have gone for an additional BCCT every month, till up to May or even June, we will have one more. This is to facilitate the number of projects that are rolling in, especially being Q1 and Q2. We are getting new initiatives, emerging projects. We want to facilitate that. So make use of this additional BCCT schedule so that you can present your BC. Next one. Okay, the compliance reporting, I think actually Suresh was to cover, but like I said, this is a very starting state of SGP compliance. Very focused from the SLT. They want to see that since the SGP process is rolled out, what's happening in order to understand the status, the maturity, the adoption of SGP by various teams. We have created a report. This report will be placed on the SharePoint site. The link is provided there. This will be updated on the first week of every month with the data that flows in from P6 for schedules and from ServiceNow for the dates and for other details. Okay, so all these details are earmarked in the file itself, but maybe we will have a separate section in order to understand, or a separate session on the EPM GPM forum as a special topic. Okay, sorry that I'm running through these because of lack of time, but you will have these things. So as closing comments, I just wanted to say that again and again, the data quality on this service now, that's our system of record. We need to capture the data properly there. If your project does not have proper dates, proper financials, proper status, then we are in trouble, because we cannot replicate or represent your project properly to the senior leadership team. If your project is to be in executing mode, then put it in the proper state. And what stage gate process or the stage it is in, what dates. If your committed delivery date is in the past, that's non-compliant right away. So look at your project, immediately go after the justification document, get it reviewed and approved, change the date, right? It's a process that you have to follow, and we are here to help you with the data, but we cannot make you go through the justification process. It is by process, the GPM and the PM have to take care of it. Same thing, the reporting point of it, we are going to generate multiple reports going forward. Some of them are going to aid you, help you with your day-to-day operations, and like status reports and your compliance reports, the committed delivery dates, etc., etc. And we are sharing that information with the project management tower, who in turn will be interacting with you to get the quality. The bottom line is getting good quality data in ServiceNow. You help us with the good data, we will be able to help you with the proper presentation of your project in the senior leadership team. It's an all-around win-win situation. Okay. The rest of the links are all there, where to look for the templates, where to look for the additional reference material, etc., etc. So I think we rushed through the last few slides, but it was a very good session from the vendor management and procurement team. I think it would have really helped you with the steps that they have went through it. We will be covering more special topics tuned to the EPM, GPM, PM forum. Any questions or any suggestions you have, you can always share with us on the PMO mailbox, or you can directly send us an email to one of our team members who will consolidate and compile them. Okay. With that, I think no, we had a good session. Thank you all for joining us today, and have a good rest of the day. Thank you. Take care then. Bye-bye.